last week, football wasn't talking about talent. It wasn't talking about a world-class goal in Portugal. It wasn't even talking about Real Madrid surviving a tough away leg. Nah, it was talking about racism again. And the name at the centre of it, Vinicius Jr. Let's talk about this properly. Vini scores a golazo, a proper one, and he celebrates how he always does. He dances. The same way Jamie Vardy winds up fans, the same way Mourinho sprinted down the Camp Nou touchline, the same way countless players express themselves. But this time, Vini gets booked. Then comes the moment that changes everything. Changes the game, changes the tie, changes the discussion. Gianluca Prestiani covers his mouth and says something to Vinicius. Now let me ask you something, alright? In a sport where you can cuss people's mums out, their family, an entire bloodline, and there is no punishment, nothing will happen, why do you feel the need to cover your mouth? Vini reacts. Protocols happen, statements are made. One side argues racism. The other side denies it. And as always, the game just continues. Then comes the most interesting voice. Jose Mourinho, a man known for his arrogance, theatrics, cupping his ears at fans, calling himself the special one, and sprinting down touchlines. But now the narrative, it shifts. Suddenly, Vini's dancing is the issue. Suddenly, the implication is, if he doesn't celebrate like that, maybe this doesn't happen. And that's where it gets dangerous. Because whether intentional or not, whether he meant it or not, that logic suggests something very, very clear. Racism is a reaction, racism is triggered, and racism is avoidable as long as the victim behaves correctly. That's not just wrong, that's harmful. And I don't believe Mourinho is racist. I don't know how anyone can believe Mourinho is racist. We've seen his bond, his connection with Africa and African players and black players. He's not a racist. But when tensions are high and you come out with something like that, Jose, this is something bigger than football. And now he is silent before the game. It's disappointing. It's downright cowardly. It's cowardly. And I would never expect to call Mourinho a coward. And that's the last thing. It's the last thing I would have ever expected, but here we are. This is real life. Mourinho is silent in the face of racism. And that's disappointing. Let's zoom out for a second, because this is not new. We saw it with Paul Pogba. We've seen it with Sterling. And we're seeing it with Vini. There's a pattern. If you're quiet, smiling, agreeable, you're praised. N'Golo Kante, he's labelled as cute, humble, safe. But if you dye your hair, if you dance, if you show confidence, no, suddenly you're arrogant, provocative, and disrespectful. And when abuse follows that, there's always somebody asking, what did he do first? Why did he provoke them? White players have freedom to celebrate. White players have freedom to shush crowds, to taunt crowds. White managers, they sprint and they scream. They're passionate. Black players do it, they're antagonistic. And that double standard is the real conversation we need to have here, because the underlying message, it doesn't become one of football or arrogance. It becomes one of you can exist as long as you do it quietly. And here's why Vini is important. He doesn't shrink. He doesn't tone it down. He doesn't dance less. He understands something very, very powerful. If racism can exist on the pitch in 2026, it exists in the stands. If it exists in the stands, it exists in wider society. And when you're Vinicius Jr., being backed by a nation, being backed by the biggest football club in the world, you have a voice that most people don't have. He's not just fighting for himself. He's fighting for every kid told to calm down, told that they're too loud, told to know their place. That is way bigger than football. Of course, I stand with Vini. Not because he plays for Real Madrid, not because he scores worldies, but because expression should never be punished with racism. No more empty slogans, don't tell me to kick it out. No more surface level campaigns, don't tell me there's no room for racism. Just equality, just football, just joy. So keep dancing, Vini, keep celebrating, keep being unapologetically you until we win. Until we overcome this. So Vini Jr., Vinicius, Baila Vini, Baila.